Ever had a friend who just got you? I mean, really understood the parts of you that you never even put into words? The one who remembered your favorite coffee order 6 months after you mentioned it offhand. Who could sense your bad mood from a single text message, and who always seemed to be operating on a different frequency than everyone else? What if I told you that person was probably an INFJ? And what if I told you that by the time most of us finally figure out what makes them tick, it's often too late to truly appreciate the rarity we had in our lives? Welcome. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the most enigmatic personality type in the Myers-Briggs world. We're talking about the advocates, the confidants, the walking, talking contradictions that are INFJs. And we're diving into the 8 things everyone finally clocks onto about them, but almost always when the moment has passed. Stick around. This one might just change how you see that quiet friend forever. 1. That quiet exterior is a front for a mind that never, ever stops. All right, let's kick this off with the biggest misconception in the book. You meet an INFJ, and your first impression is often, wow, so sweet, so gentle, a bit shy. And you're not wrong. They often have this calming, serene presence that just makes you want to open up. It's like walking into a peaceful library. But here's the thing everyone misses at first. That library isn't just a quiet building with a few books. Oh no, it's the Library of Congress, the British Museum, and the internet all rolled into one, running at 1,000,000 miles an hour, 24/7. That quiet exterior, it's not because there's nothing going on upstairs. It's because there's too much. An INFJ's mind is a perpetual motion machine of analysis, connection, and simulation. They're not just listening to you talk about your bad day at work. They're analyzing your tone, your word choices, your body language. They're connecting your current frustration to a story you told them 3 months ago. They're running simulations in their head about how you might be feeling, what the root cause might be, and what the perfect thing to say would be to make you feel truly seen and understood. It's exhausting, frankly, and it requires a ton of internal processing power. That's why they seem quiet. They're not bored or disinterested. They're running the most sophisticated empathy software on the planet, and it takes a heck of a lot of RAM. 2. Their intuition isn't a party trick. It's a hardwired superpower, and it's rarely wrong. So, you're chatting with your INFJ friend, and out of the blue, they say something like, I've got a weird feeling about that new guy you're dating, or something tells me this business deal is going to fall through next week. And you brush it off. Oh, you're just being paranoid. You say, stop overthinking it. Fast forward a month and boom, the new guy ghosts you. The deal collapses, and you're left staring at your phone, thinking, how on earth did they know? This is the second, and perhaps most startling realization. The INFJ intuition isn't a guess. It's not a hunch. It's a relentless, subconscious pattern recognition system. Their brains are constantly absorbing terabytes of data, micro-expressions, subtle shifts in energy, seemingly unrelated events. And their intuition is the processor that crunches all that data and spits out a conclusion long before their conscious mind can even articulate why. They don't always know how they know. They just know. It's a deep, visceral feeling in their gut that's almost impossible to ignore. Dismissing their intuition is like dismissing a weather forecast because the sun is out, ignoring the fact that the forecaster has access to satellite imagery and radar you can't even see. By the time you realize their forecast was spot on, the storm has already hit. 3. Their empathy is a double-edged sword that literally drains them. We all love this about INFJs, right? They're our personal therapists, the ultimate shoulder to cry on. They make you feel like you're the only person in the world when you're talking to them. And they are genuinely, profoundly happy to be that for you. They see it as their purpose. But what nobody sees, what they expertly hide, is the cost. INFJs don't just sympathize with you. They absorb your emotional state. It's called effective empathy. Your sadness becomes their sadness. Your anxiety vibrates through their nervous system. Your anger simmers in their stomach. It's not a choice. It's an involuntary psychic osmosis. After a long day of being the emotional sponge for their friends, family, and even random strangers who overshare in grocery store lines, an INFJ is utterly, completely drained. They'll go home, and need absolute silence to decompress. They might cancel plans. They seem distant. And without understanding this, people often mistake this necessary retreat for aloofness or flakiness. The tragic realization comes too late that their greatest gift, the thing you leaned on the most, is also the very thing that exhausts them to their core. You took the light for granted, not realizing how much energy it took for them to generate it. For they have a secret, unshakable moral code, and they will walk away if you cross it. INFJs are some of the most accepting, non-judgmental people you'll ever meet. They believe in redemption, second chances, and the inherent good in people. They'll defend you to the ends of the earth until you cross a very specific, deeply ingrained line. Everyone realizes this one too late, usually in the aftermath of a seemingly minor disagreement. You might make a cruel joke at someone else's expense. You might cheat on a partner and try to justify it to them. You might show a fundamental disrespect for someone's autonomy or dignity. And in that moment, the INFJ doesn't get angry. They get quiet. Their face changes. The warmth in their eyes cools into a sort of sad, profound disappointment. This is the infamous INFJ door slam. It's not a fit of rage. It's a calm, final, and permanent severing of the connection. People are always shocked by this. But it was just one thing, they'll plead. But to the INFJ, it was never about that one thing. It was the one thing that revealed a fundamental incompatibility with their core values. Values of integrity, kindness, and authenticity that are non-negotiable. They gave you countless chances, made countless excuses for you in their mind, but this was the final straw. The door closes silently, and it never, ever opens again. The realization hits you long after the lock has clicked. Their compassion had boundaries you never knew were there. 5. Their need for deep, meaningful connection makes small talk physically painful. You're at a party with your INFJ friend. They're lingering by the snack table, looking slightly pained as someone tells them all about the unseasonable weather or the traffic on the highway. They're nodding, smiling politely, but their eyes are screaming for help. This isn't them being rude or antisocial. For an INFJ, surface-level chatter isn't just boring. It's energetically costly. Their brains are wired for depth. They crave conversations about dreams, fears, philosophy, the meaning of life, the complexities of the human experience. Asking them, "What do you do?" is a surefire way to watch their soul leave their body for a brief moment. They could do small talk. They've mastered the art of it as a social survival skill, but it drains their battery at an alarming rate. Meanwhile, a single, deep, heartfelt conversation with one person in a corner for 20 minutes can energize them for a week. The late realization? All those times you saw them as awkward in a crowd, they weren't judging the party. They were just dying a little inside, yearning for someone to skip the weather and ask them what they think happens after we die. 6. They're chronic overthinkers because they're simulating every possible outcome. Making a decision with an INFJ can be a process. Where should we go for dinner? Can lead to a 15-minute internal monologue where they're not just weighing burger joint versus Italian restaurant. They're considering, will you be happy with that choice? What's the ambience like? Will it be too loud for us to talk? What if the service is slow and you get hangry? Did I mention that place once and you seemed indifferent? Maybe the other place is safer. It's not indecisiveness. It's a comprehensive, multi-layer analysis of every possible variable and outcome. Their brain is a supercomputer running a program called How to Ensure This Interaction is Perfect and No One Gets Hurt or Disappointed. This applies to everything from dinner plans to life-altering choices. The irony, which people only appreciate later, is that this overthinking is born from a place of intense care. They're trying to optimize for everyone's happiness and comfort. They're trying to avoid any potential negative consequence. In the moment, it can be frustrating. In hindsight, you see it for what it is, a taxing mental labor of love that they perform silently without asking for thanks. 7. They're walking contradictions, and that's their strength. Try to put an INFJ in a box, and I promise you, they will break it. They're a personality type built on paradoxes. They're both intensely emotional and incredibly logical. They're dreamy idealists who are also stark realists. They crave deep intimacy, but need profound solitude. They feel everything yet can appear detached. People often get whiplash trying to figure them out. One day, they're the wise old sage dispensing profound life advice. The next, they're a giggling mess over a silly meme. This complexity is what makes them so fascinating and, frankly, so misunderstood. You might label them as flaky or hard to read because they don't fit a neat, consistent archetype. The realization that comes too late is that these aren't flaws. This is their genius. Their ability to hold two opposing ideas in their mind at once is what gives them their incredible perspective and empathy. They can see an issue from every single angle because they contain multitudes within themselves. That friend who never quite made sense to you, that was the point. They weren't meant to be easily defined. 8. They often feel profoundly lonely in a crowded room. This is the heartbreaker. This is the one that makes you look back on your friendship and want to call them immediately. INFJs are often surrounded by people who love them. They have friends, family, partners. And yet, many carry a deep, persistent sense of loneliness. Why? Because they spend so much of their lives understanding others that they rarely feel truly understood themselves. They're the listeners, the advisors, the secret keepers. But who listens to them? Who intuitively senses their hidden struggles? Who makes the effort to dive past their polite exterior and ask the deep, meaningful questions they're always asking everyone else? It's a tragic imbalance. They give the gift of deep understanding freely, but receive it back only in fragments. They feel like aliens sometimes, observing a world they feel deeply connected to, but also strangely separate from. People realize too late that they never truly reciprocated the depth of inquiry. They enjoyed the INFJ's light, but never thought to ask what fueled it or what shadows it was trying to outrun. 9. Their patience is limitless until it suddenly isn't. An INFJ will put up with a lot. They'll give you chance after chance after chance. They'll justify your behavior, see the best in you, and patiently wait for you to grow, to learn, to become a better version of yourself. This patience can seem infinite, but it's not. It's a well that can run dry. And when it does, it's not a slow leak, it's a catastrophic break. One day, they're your patient, understanding friend. The next, they've reached their absolute limit and are completely done. This often manifests as the infamous door slam we talked about earlier. The person on the receiving end is always blindsided. But everything was fine, they'll say. No, it wasn't. The INFJ was keeping a silent tally of every slight, every disappointment, every violation of their values. Their patience was a conscious choice, and they finally, quietly, choose to stop choosing it. The late realization is that their patience was a gift, not a given, and it was being eroded away in plain sight, if only anyone had been looking closely enough. 10. They don't believe in superficial goodbyes. Every ending is a profound loss. For most people, friendships and relationships have a natural ebb and flow. People drift apart. It's a part of life. For the INFJ, every meaningful connection is a thread woven into the very fabric of their soul. Because they connect so deeply and so intensely, any ending, even a slow fade, is felt as a profound and painful loss. They don't just lose a friend. They lose a universe of shared jokes, unspoken understandings, and a unique connection they cherished. They will grieve it, turning it over and over in their mind for years, wondering what they could have done differently. They'll remember your birthday long after you've forgotten theirs. People often move on quickly, assuming the INFJ has done the same because they're so private about their pain. The realization, years later, might be that the INFJ you casually let drift away still thinks of you, still wonders if you're okay, and still carries the ghost of that friendship with a quiet, enduring sadness. Their heart is a museum of past connections, each one preserved with care. 11. They're the ultimate advocates, but they rarely advocate for themselves. This is the great tragedy of the INFJ. They will fight tooth and nail for you. They will champion your cause, defend your character, and support your dreams with a ferocity that will shock you. They see your potential even when you don't, and they will spend their own energy trying to help you see it too. But when it comes to their own needs, they fall silent. They struggle to ask for help. They downplay their own pain. They'll advocate for the whole world, but whisper their own desires. They assume no one will care or that they'll be a burden. So they suffer in silence, hoping someone will notice, will offer the same unwavering support they so freely give. And too often, no one does. People get so used to the INFJ being the strong one, the rock, that they forget the rock might need propping up too. The late, gut-wrenching realization is that your strongest friend was secretly hoping you'd be their strength, just for a little while, and you never even noticed they were struggling. 12. When they're gone, they leave a silence that's deafening. And this is the final collective realization. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. When an INFJ is in your life, their presence is like a constant, gentle hum of understanding and compassion. It's so steady, so reliable, that you stop noticing it. It becomes background noise. But when they're gone, whether they've door slammed, moved away, or just finally withdrawn, the silence they leave behind is absolutely deafening. It's in that quiet that you finally hear what was missing before. There's no one who remembers the little things. No one who just gets it without a 5-paragraph explanation. No one who listens with that terrifying level of attention. The emotional landscape of your life becomes flatter, less colorful. You realize in that silence that their empathy wasn't normal. Their intuition wasn't standard. Their depth was a rare gift, and you were lucky to have it. The world feels a little less understood, a little less magical without them in your corner. Conclusion. The INFJ is a walking lesson in paying attention. They are the quiet observers, the fierce protectors, the weary healers of the world. They give so much of themselves, often without ever asking for a thing in return, operating on a silent hope that their depth will be met with depth, their kindness with kindness, their loyalty with loyalty. The tragedy is that the world often fails to see them, truly see them, until the connection is a memory. Their strengths are mistaken for weaknesses, their depth for complexity, their boundaries for cruelty, and their love for something that will just always be there. So if you have an INFJ in your life, don't wait for a late realization. See them now. Thank them for their patience. Ask them a deep question. Protect their energy. Respect their boundaries. And most importantly, try to give back even a fraction of the light they so consistently shine on everyone else. They are one of the rarest types for a reason. Don't wait until it's too late to realize just how precious that is. What was your realization? Share your stories about the INFJs in your life in the comments below. And if this resonated, feel free to share it with someone who needs to see it. Thanks for watching.